Hello, everyone. We are live from the Relic Entertainment studio for another replay review with some fine folks from the dev team. Let's do some quick introductions. You know them, you love them. Jason from the Balance team.
Hello, hello. I'm Jason. I work on gameplay and balance.
And someone who we haven't seen a ton of, but is always working very, very hard behind the scenes, KJ.
KJ Benedega, you're on a senior producer.
KJ's always getting things done, making sure that the game is running smoothly, doing all the live ops stuff, doing all the release management stuff. He's definitely the guy that makes things happen on the team. So glad to have you here, KJ. So I think we've got a couple of fun replays for us today. So again, folks, you can submit these and have them featured on the replay review show by dropping them in the replay channel on the official Relic Entertainment Discord. So that's discord.gg/Relic Entertainment. And if you do get your replay featured, we may unlock some exclusive cosmetics for you for those replays that are selected to be featured on the live stream. So without further ado, should we just jump into the first match and get going here?
Let's do it.
All right, let's go. Alrighty, so I think here, first up, we have a 2v2 on Crossing in the Woods. So we have here on the Allied side, I believe we have Friend Simulator playing the U.S. Forces, Corrupted Sun playing the Brits, and then on the Axis side, we have Byron Wu playing the Wehrmacht, and White Ghost playing the Africa Corps. So Jason, I think I'll just kick things over to you. First things first, how do you think these players are doing right out of the gate?
They haven't done anything yet. This is a 2v2 on Cross in the Woods, which is going to be a lot of fun. We see all four factions being used. Wehrmacht going for Kettenkrad MG opening. And then Dak is going for Panzer near opening, which is always fun. Yeah, generally standard openings right now.
Happy they placed their buildings close to the border edge. You know, they've played a few games
Yeah.
they do that.
Yeah.
The efficiency play.
Yeah.
A lot of people use the auto build immediately, but some of our multiplayer guys have figured out you can get more reinforce out of it if you build it in the front. So on this map, the interesting thing to see is whether or not the teams double up on one side and try and hold an area, or if they're content to break into essentially two 1v1s, which I think is happening right now, which will be testament to their individual matchups to see who controls the fields first. So far, it's an even split, which is good. None of the players are going for anything too special yet. Nope, except the Allies is going for an early cutoff, and that's one of the big features of this map is these cutoffs in the middle that you have to always hold. Mm-hmm. Trying to push out into the right or to the left fuels does leave you exposed in the middle, which is the core part of this map's design. And right now, Allies are getting the first early advantage.
4 engineers, a typical start for Dak.
This used to be very popular back in the. Oh, what?
Okay.
I mean, even then. I think he can't. Yeah,
he just canceled them all.
Yeah. Oh, and he retreats. Bit of a well, he had a game plan and he's changing it now. But we'll see if he's able to do that. We have buffed field defenses quite a lot in the last few patches, and we're hoping to see players kind of use it to shape the battlefield more. With the amount of engineers that he has on the field, he definitely will have the ability to do that. But one of the challenges of using field defenses is you can only really use it in areas you control, so you have to force the opponent off in order to do so. So we'll see if the Dak player is able to do so.
Yeah, and I guess I also failed to mention some of the info that was provided with this replay up top. Oh, does it get away? I think it gets away. So this was submitted by Tevery Best on Discord. Um, they have some choice words about field defenses. So I guess we'll see how that plays into this match here. Um, but it looks like the elo spread or the rank spread for this match is sort of silver, low gold.
Mhm,
If that gives folks a little bit of context about where the skill level is sitting here.
mhm. So Axis now is definitely in a less comfortable position now. They're cut off from both fields. Oh, that bike is dead, and that's really not good. The bike usually is very valuable for Dak, especially early on. So losing it like that is quite painful. So we'll have to see if Axis is able to get back on the field here. But
Yeah,
losing
they were
field
able to
this
get that
early matters.
cutoff back, but for how long I think is the question.
Yeah, the the allies are doing a really good job of consistently hitting this, and the they're also able to take advantage of some of the cover in these positions, making both of the machine guns from Wehrmacht less effective. Wehrmacht has his mortar out now, so let's see if he's able to take back this area. But even with that taken back, he will have to take the left fuel. Though looks like okay, all right, here it comes. We have a wire coming down. Um, okay, unable to get both of them down. And this is the challenge of getting field defenses down, is you do have to fully control the area.
And this is so far forward too.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one thing to build sandbags and fortifications on your side of the map. He's trying to wall off his opponent, which is really interesting. It's gonna take a few tries, but he has been successful. Blue hasn't. I actually didn't check if Blue burned through some units, lost some units early, because his army is extremely small right now. Oh,
Surprising no machine gun too.
yeah, no machine gun, but he's only sitting on 4 infantry units, which this early on is very small. If you look at the DAC army, it's significantly larger than Blue's right now. So purple will have the an opportunity here essentially to take advantage of it. Now I'm pretty sure blue will be on Tech 2 here, which means this wire play that he's going for might not be that relevant because he will be able to run. Wait, is that reinforced wire? I think that is.
Looks like it.
Uh,
Yeah.
Can't tell because the screen's a bit far away. Yeah, it's the reinforced wire. Okay. So never mind. I was gonna say he could run over these things, but not necessarily right now. So then what Ghost is Pansy? Yeah, he's Pansy Jaeger right now. So yeah, we'll see what blue goes for here. Axis is doing just fine on the right, but on the left, definitely a bit of a struggle. The triple machine gun build quite powerful early on. Wehrmacht tried to fight it with its own machine guns, which is interesting. Um, but so far hasn't really found too much success.
Oh, that's a early pack out as well.
Yeah, for the half track that usually accompanies this build.
Wires are going back up on the right.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, I guess if you persist at this, you will eventually get there. Especially like I am interested what blue spent their resources on because they're not floating all that much. And they don't have infantry training out either. Um, but maybe they just bled a lot
See a
early
few
on.
buildings. Yeah.
Oh, they're trying to go for Stewarts.
Yes. And the Stewards will be able to essentially attack these wire directly. It won't be the most effective thing at removing them, but it should be able to. So we'll see. I mean, it will be useful being able to essentially prevent the infantry from going through there. Though I don't think Blue is all that interested in fighting there to begin with. Here he is in the middle. Wehrmacht was about to kind of get a setup push on the left there, and immediately has to commit his units to defending the cutoff. Which, I mean,
Pressure from the side. Yeah.
Blue is bleeding a lot doing this though, and with the GRBs coming online, with the Panzerjäger ability as well, I don't think he'll be able to sit here. Is that artillery going to connect? No, not quite. That would have been really nasty. Stewart comes out. He's going to hit it with the Jerbies. The Jerbies do get extra pen with the Panzerjäger. Wow, okay. Nerves of Steel there, sitting in both artillery and in front of the Stuart, and manages to keep all of them alive. That doesn't always happen, so definitely brave play by Purple, by What Ghost here.
Those engineers to work yet again.
Yeah, and the Wehrmacht is consistently getting pushed off. So like I mentioned at the start, like a big part of this map is whether or not you decide to team up on an opponent or break into 2-1v1s. Now you can flow between these two states pretty naturally, as it's usually you get to decide if you attack the enemy cut off straight through the middle or fan out to the sides. Definitely the defensive line being built here, which is cool to see. He's going to have a lot of cover. It's going to be difficult for vehicles to get through here. And because it's the reinforced wire, vehicles won't be able to run straight through them, not until he gets up to Heavy Crush. And also the roadblocks will absorb shots, like that shot right there, which will make vehicles like the Stuart less effective. It won't block the machine gun rounds, so it'll still be able to damage them. I wonder if Blue knows you can attack these defenses directly.
Like an attack round.
Oh, wait, did he cut the wire? He has a Minesweeper Sapper, and Minesweeper Sappers can cut wire. I think he's just not interested, which is interesting. Yep, and he goes through the wire on the right there. So, despite the defenses, you still need units to man such defenses. I think they were mostly in the middle, fighting off a push there. So now Blue is on the field. We'll see if he's able to hold this. One of the interesting things is field defenses can be used against you. Yeah, okay, so Blue is attacking the roadblocks directly here.
Yeah. The title for this replay file was Maginot Line.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, something like Siegfried Line, more like with the Axis doing it, but yeah. Blue's army is now much more online now between the Canadians and the infantry. He also has 2 Stuarts. With the DAC running only the single. Well, he does have a pack now, but between the 2 AT sources, if he's ever too aggressive with it, he will get it. But yeah. Allies also seem to have overwhelming VP control. Oh, that's 125 down. The Stuart will be just fine. I don't know where the pack is. But... Oh, it's slowly coming up.
Slowly getting
Yeah, the 2 Stuarts gonna grind down. But yeah, Axis VP control has been completely smashed. I think their overall map control has not been great overall. One of the issues with basically Purple invested their node connection. Their advantage winning on the right side.
They traded.
The okay. Nice. Okay, that's really good. That's generally a favorable trade. We'll see. Here on the left. Oh, he went mechanized and got out the 8-Rad, which is an effective anti-infantry vehicle. However, these bazookas are just running through him, as he doesn't have that much combat infantry. And looks like the half-track was upgraded to a 75 mil and is currently barraging them. So, fairly standard WSC build coming out of Teal. Going 50 cal, and the 50 cals will actually be somewhat effective against the 8-Rad itself. Between Panzergrens and 8-Rads, if he ever catches them in the open or unprepared, he's going to be really strong. But in these kind of set-piece front-to-back engagements, Red's going to be at a pretty large disadvantage. So, yeah, he's definitely struggling to control the left here. Like, as he fans out to the far left, oh, this 75 mil is a little forward. Okay, definitely too forward now. Goodbye. But he's unable to basically contest that left field without, also holding the cut. And sometimes on this map, you just have to just essentially give up on attacking one of the left fields, hold one, and then focus on the VPs.
Hmm.
As Axis right now is bleeding 380 points behind now, which is going to be extremely painful as the game goes on.
Do you think they can come back at this point?
It's definitely still possible. Like, for example, Teal's entire army is, the center of the army is the 3 machine guns. Machine guns, if you lose one, not only can you lose the squad, but your opponent can get it as well. So one really big flank from, for example, Purple that gets behind Teal could potentially completely reverse the game. Now, I don't think Purple's all that interested, considering how much investment they've put up on the right side here. Remanning their
And
Magna line.
building.
Yeah. And now with the forward medical truck and everything, I think Purple is on the verge of completing a fairly good defense here. The issue is that I don't think they quite have all of the units they need to man this. And Blue is just going through this tiny little gap on the left.
Yeah, they're in the chat, and they said one of the things that they were concerned about is if they were completely blocked in here, they would be kind of toast if they tried to retreat.
Yes. Like a lot of these units in the open. Probably at this point you want to. Ooh, some of these units are gonna die. Oh, goodbye. Yeah, that's very painful. Blue now getting out of Bishop, killed one of those squads, and one of the other squads just kind of died to small arms fire. Immediately rebuilding them. That's Panzer Pioneers will be fairly effective in combat, but if they fall behind in veterancy, so if you have to hard build them this late in the game, they will struggle to be that effective.
Mm-hmm.
They have to have 4.
Yeah, but like they need every power they have, like or the amount, like maximize their army power right now, because they need to get on top of these VPs like right now. And like I mentioned before, machine guns very much like, I wouldn't say high risk units, but they definitely have the potential of reversing on you very extremely with losing that machine gun and being able to grab it. That's definitely extremely painful. Looks like Axis is finally, for the first time, going to stabilize and make the allies bleed a VP here. Looks like they're actually going to potentially get a triple cap here, which is good. They need to hold this for
Quite a while.
quite a while with all of their might. I mean, Red's army comp is going to get more effective, especially once these Panzer Grants hit Vet 2. They're going to be a lot more difficult to deal with. Teal has gone for 4 bazooka teams against essentially 2 light vehicles, so his army is a bit vulnerable, right? Or not vulnerable, but it's not too effective against what Red's going for right now. But it's mostly a micro battle, whether or not he can get Panzer Grants on top of the machine guns, or whether or not the machine guns can suppress them at range. Currently, he has double mortars, so he has access to 2 smoke barrages and 2 HE barrages. But it can be a challenge, and look, and this has happened a few times now. Every time Red is kind of like committed to fighting on the left here, Blue has kicked in and essentially just broke Red's position. Like, even if you don't kill anything in a lot of these engagements, it can be extremely damaging, because to get all of your units retreated and then reset up takes a lot of time, and space on the map matters a lot for a machine gun player. The more space you have and the more time, the more you can set up machine guns and whatnot. So yeah, Black Rearling goes down. This definitely, like, controlling the middle here is really painful, because if Purple commits most of his army to hold the defensive line on the north there, he's just going to get flanked, / the Red's just going to die to getting doubled. So Axis is in a really tough spot now.
Would you have built that defensive line in a different spot where it could be more effective?
Yeah, probably. You probably want to start with something like a few sandbags or bunkers or something closer to your lines to kind of be like your center point. Ooh, something just hit Red super hard. Yeah, okay, it's a bishop and landing in the middle of his army. But yeah, so like generally that's more effective, especially early on, than having an entire contiguous line, because early on you're not going to have the units to basically hold it, and also Purple spent a lot of time trying to build it when they didn't have complete control, and had a few retreats that they probably did need to do. But like the idea is solid. I just think they overcommitted to it a little bit too early. Yeah.
Yeah,
And
made
also, the Teal I think has been having a very good game. Generally being able to trade very effectively. Like none of the Panzer Grenadiers hitting vet 2 at this point is probably a testament to the fact that I don't think they've really gotten on top of Teal at all. And like in terms of anti-infantry, Teal only has the 3 machine guns. He has the Sherman now, but up until now, it's essentially been machine gun micro against two or three combat units plus a mortar. Red had a second mortar. I think it's dead now. But like between having 2 mortars means you do have access to 2 smoke barrages, which is quite difficult to deal with machine guns. It seems like Teal's been able to micro through it. So now Axis is definitely on a bit of a desperate scenario. They definitely need to hold the right VP. Losing that is definitely GG, and then they obviously also need to at least contest the red one, keep it neutral, contest the middle one. Sorry. But it's going to be a challenge, especially with the army compositions that they have, because they don't have that powerful anti-infantry. They do have GRBs out. But those won't be too effective against machine guns at long range.
Yeah, and the defensive line has fallen.
Yeah, there's a bit of a gap there. One of the other things with field defenses is that is that a cache going up? That's bold.
Maybe,
I think you should
maybe
be
not the best decision when you're at 17 VPs.
Yeah, I mean, putting a cache here could also be valuable in the sense of holding the territory, making it harder for your opponent to just kind of sneak cap it. But I do think holding the 2 VP should be the higher prio. Teal's composition is very interesting, having the 4 bazookas just roving around. They don't really have any targets. There is the single 8-rad. The flak railing went down earlier. I believe that's a Wesp out. That's dead.
I think
8-rad
they
lost.
assumed some more vehicles coming from the Axis players that just never came.
Yeah, usually if you... I mean, it is very common to go for multiple 8-rads when you do go for them. But I believe when the first 8-rad came out, they got out 2 bazookas. This Sherman. No, the Sherman's... caught on the flag there a little, but I think they're just fine. Red's kind of just running at them with very little else to do. As now they are down to 6 VPs, and there's no unit threatening the mid VP.
Yeah.
So
what do you think the Axis could have done better, sort of from minute 1 here to try and take the advantage here?
I mean, I do think this is, like, for example, Teal played very well. Being able to do what you did with just 3 machine guns is quite impressive. The other thing is probably Red should have started giving up on trying to contest that left fuel. Especially against the machine gun build. Once you get kicked off by, like, a double down of, like, the other player came and kicked you off, trying to immediately go back and push that off is generally inefficient. Because, again, the machine gun player has so much space that you have to figure out how to kind of, like, slowly chip away at. Whereas, probably, you should go to the middle, get the VP, then pivot into another attack somewhere else. So, something like that. I think the Allies played much better as a team. Blue being able to support Teal, whatever Teal was getting, not even pushed off, but just being pressured, and just resetting Red over and over again was a sign of good team play.
Okay. KJ, what do you usually do when you're kind of behind, like mid-match? How do you adjust your strategy or your mental focus when you're just like, I'm behind and I need to like change up what I'm doing?
I try and change positions on the map, really, and try and kind of a different approach, or try and play the rock, paper, scissors game of like, what am I being beat by? So they're rocking those 2 machine guns and you're having a hard time on that left side with those machine guns, and go mortars or go something that can kind of slowly chip away, like Jason said, at them and kind of make some progress while you kind of focus elsewhere.
Okay. Any other thoughts on that match, Jason, before as we load into our next one here?
I mean, one of the cool things about 2v2 is the fact that the maps are generally designed where you can flow between a 1v1 with your opponent into like doubling down on an enemy teammate and knowing when to kind of cycle between those, because generally you shouldn't commit to either one all the time, but being able to flip between the two is honestly one of my favorite draws of 2v2. um being able to decide like, hey, oh, if your opponent's dug in, well, just don't fight him, go fight the just kill your opponent.
Right.
Or enabling your teammate to do these things is a really cool part of 2v2. So I would encourage, like, bear that in mind when playing 2v2.
Cool.
Cool.
All right, let's jump into our next match here. So I'm gonna hit play here, and I'm gonna find my notes so I can tell you a little bit about this match. So this was submitted by UnionMan on the Discord. And again, the elo rank spread on this one is a little bit all over the place. There's kind of mid gold, low or high iron, and then I think there's one challenger player in this matchup, so sort of all over the place. So Union Man says they struggled a bit with countering the early Luftwaffe players with their Fallpio and Fall Jaegers and Pack 40 composition, and would love some advice on what to do when playing against that. Otherwise, it's a mostly fun game, so buckle up.
Sure. I can already see he's running into said Fallpio.
Yeah.
Going immediately for the fighting nest. Interesting. So this will probably be, yes. So this is definitely a challenge to deal with early on. So what blue is trying to do here won't work, mostly because the units outside do not get any cover bonuses, while the unit inside is getting full cover bonuses. This can be somewhat difficult to deal with, but I think one of the main rules with this thing is essentially either ignore it when you don't have the tools to deal with it, and get to the tools that you need to deal with this as soon as possible. So probably the two things you were looking for to deal with this is probably a flamethrower or a mortar. Those are probably the two easiest options.
Would you double down and go both flamethrower and mortar, or would you just
Uh,
try one?
you probably want to stick to. So the mortar you can get right away because it's just a manpower unit. The flamethrower does require your team to secure munitions. Generally, that will happen, and you will be able to get out a flamethrower within the first 3 minutes. But if your team gets, for example, denied, or I mean, some maps the cap order generally favors fuel, and you don't get munitions until later. In both of those scenarios, maybe you would go straight for the mortar. Though both those units are generally useful to have anyway, so it's not like going for both is too much of a commitment. But generally, you only need one. Yeah, so okay, they're doing exactly that. They see the fall pile in the building, and they're like, forget it. They're gonna just go around it, which I think is a really good call. Now, I do think Pink is quite smart in doing this because he's managed to deny the entire enemy team 10 fuel for quite a while, which is really powerful. One of the things to also remember is that if your opponent commits a unit to deny you like a point like that, that also does mean they don't have a unit elsewhere on the map to protect their territory. So if we look at the top side of the minimap, there's just inherently one less unit holding that territory. And I do think the temptation is to immediately secure what you had, kicking out that fall pile. But like they could have went for a cutoff here and basically got ahead in resources. Now, with Double Dingo, they don't have that much capping, so I don't think what they went for is bad by any means. But that's just something to bear in mind.
They lost the Kettenkrad there too, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I think Allies is mostly fine. I don't know if that fall pile necessarily paid off doing what it did, because you could hold on to less resources but more solidly if there was a little bit further back. But yeah, I think Allies dealt with it really pretty cleanly. They just got the flamethrower out and cleaned it up. So clearly they have some experience with this, which is good.
Yeah, I also failed to mention, if people didn't realize that already, we're playing on Oasis Depot.
Yes.
Which I really love the look of this map. I think it's really stunning.
Yes. One of my favorite 4v4 maps. I really like the bridges in particular. They're a lot of fun.
Amazing seeing what Will can do.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, I also forgot to mention we have 3 British Forces players, 1 USF, 2 Wehrmacht, and 2 DAC. So what do you think, Jason, about this matchup in terms of just the factions on this map, and what does each player need to be thinking about, and what do they need to be doing?
We have generally balanced team compositions. We do have one extra Brit, so to speak, for allies, but that's not too uncommon considering Brits are generally a little bit more popular in team games, as USF can be a little bit trickier to play in some ways. Because their mobility is a little harder to leverage in 4v4 than in, for example, 1v1. I don't think, like, overall, this will be pretty much up to the players. They'll be able to kind of go for however they want to do it. I see Teal has double dingo, which is always fun, which means they're very much about early power. Uh, the dingoes can be very effective against the fall piles, because the fall piles don't really have a meaningful way to deal with them, unlike grenadiers, which can eventually get panzerfausts. Uh, the the fall piles are just gonna have to shoot at them with guns. Now, Teal's build does mean, like, if they accidentally misstep one of the dingoes, they're gonna be kind of behind. But
Yeah,
it'll be up to them.
especially with the Arty barrage that they get at veterans, it's kind of a key piece in their arsenal right now.
Overall, I think most builds coming out here are fairly standard. The orange went for a double machine gun, which is a little it's not too non-standard, especially if they're playing in the middle. Uh, in terms of battle groups, it's a little hard to see because the screen's far away from us, sitting here on the couch. Heavy armor, and then I don't think most of them have actually locked in anything.
I don't
Yeah,
see.
these three players haven't locked in anything. One thing is we're already seeing caches go down. Teal has cashed their +10 fuel. I thought I saw another cache in the production queue, but I guess not. No, red is building one.
Oh,
So
yeah.
it's red on red. Okay, yeah, there it is. So both teams caching up their +10 fuels, which is really good. For those who don't know, caches give you more resources based off the points. So having a safe +10 fuel generally is, especially in a 4v4, very efficient to cache early because all four of your teammates will benefit from it as well. So it's generating quite a lot of fuel.
At what time in a match do you think it'll be a detriment for not choosing a battle group, or do you recommend holding on that decision until like your opponent chooses, or do you try and choose something before 10 minutes, or
It's definitely based on your game plan because some battle groups will offer you power right from the start. So, for example, Falchion Pioneer, you probably want to use immediately, not only to get the advantage of the fact that they can get out on the map sooner, but also just to get them veteran sooner as well.
Mhm.
That matters. But some battle groups can easily you can wait until longer until you see generally what you're facing or what kind of map state you're in, and then you go for it. Especially in a 4v4. For example, some of the heavy tank battle groups, you might want to wait until a little bit later before committing to them. Not all of them have 0 CP or 1 CP things that you have to use, for example.
yeah, see they locked in Canadians for one of the Brits.
Yes. Um,
Got the grenades right off the get-go.
Yeah, the flame grenades, which are very valuable on this map, considering how many garrisons there are you have to burn out of the enemy. Uh, and which seems like the allies are kind of struggling in the buildings right now. Both the towns in the north and the south are currently being held by Axis. Which, I mean, so far the map control difference isn't too high. I think allies is a little bit behind right now, especially with that unit capping in the north. So they definitely need to get back on the field, though, against kind of what they're playing against, I think. It's still very playable here. This combat on the roads, which can be quite a lot of fun. Trying to cover these bridges is hard. Allies seem to have a pretty solid hold of the middle here, but they do need to translate this into map control elsewhere, because the middle on its own doesn't generate too much. I believe it's a 5 field on either side in the single VP, which is really nice, but also you do need to control the wings. But the nice thing, it's kind of like the 2v2 map we talked about earlier. Uh, if you control kind of this middle area, you can kind of swing and double, well, quadruple people wherever you want to. So that mobility matters. But you do have to take advantage of it. Teal's getting back the north. looks like Axis is actually getting kicked out of the town in the south as well. So we'll see if they can get onto that southern VP or that fuel. Oh, Bazooka team gonna connect on that bike. Goodbye.
It's like Blue's got a couple upgrades up, vetting up their units too, which I'm sure is helping.
Yeah. Veterancy is definitely gonna matter quite a lot. I see a Vet 2 Dingo kick in. Both of Teal's Dingoes still at Vet 1. A lot of units generally get their ability at Vet 1 and a very small stat bonus, while at Vet 2 they get generally a pretty big jump in stats. Depending on the unit class, some of them will be more non-combat upgrades, but a lot of them will be just straight up. Your unit will be much more tanky or deal more damage or some combination of the two. So getting to that Vet 2 as soon as possible is very important, especially getting to that before your opponent. So yeah, I think that first fall Pioneer for Pink, for example, has hit Vet 2, which is really good. And the earlier you get to Vet 2, the more time you have spending to attack unvetted enemy units, which means you can get to Vet 3 quicker. And Vet 3 is a very large jump in combat stats. You generally get two major stat increases, and then a unique bonus. Generally, we tailor it to the unit to try and make it more effective in a special way. Though sometimes we just allow you to get double the stats instead. Or, well, not double, but just a larger stat block.
So now that the teams are kind of starting to transition to the mid game here, I know we're starting to see things like 8 Rads and Martyrs. What do you think the allies need to be doing here to sort of push the Axis off these VPs?
So allies have opted for, they have 2 bishops players now, so classic artillery spam, and then one player has gone for Stuarts, while the green player has opted to stay on a WSC play. So they generally want to force the opponent to sit still and then just murder them from away with the artillery. The Axis have gone for a splattering of different things. Red is going for triple 8 Rad. Orange has Jaegers. Pink is going for its own infantry build as well. And then purple has gone for a light vehicle park. So they're gonna be, I mean, I don't think the allies have that much AT. They have the triple Zooks, but if they can get around that the 8 Rads can be really nasty to deal with. But I think this is also, the allies are kind of like huddling in the middle here, so it's going to be a bit difficult. The Axis will essentially want to spread out the allies as much as possible on the 2 wings of the map, and then just fight their units kind of in the open or just in like quick engagements. They don't want to be drawn into a big frontal battle in the middle in particular, so we'll see how that goes. It is easy to forget because it's in the middle of the map. It still isn't necessary to hold this. It is 2 field points and a VP, and sometimes it could be potentially more worth it to just wait until your opponent goes to where they're weak and then smash them there.
Axis seems to be doing a better job of keeping their units alive too, and
yeah, I haven't been able to track preservation with the amount of units. It's a bit hard to see, but yeah. So here, green is broken here. Let's see if allies are able to do a big push, because there might not be all that much to stop these 8 Rads from getting on the bishops. We'll see. Yeah, bishops are just 1 screen further away.
Yeah,
here's
that's
one.
definitely what they're hunting for here.
Yeah. Oh, he doesn't go for it. It's interesting. He must be scared of something.
direct fire, I think.
Yes, they did get the direct fire off, but the other 8 Rad definitely could have punished with, especially these Jaegers with Shreks going out. Okay. Well, unable to connect here. Let's see if he swings out left, try and get behind Teal, or he's gonna just try and push into the base here. That's a bit bold. Barrage is off on the. Okay, he's just gonna straight up push the base. That's funny. Not really too easy to do. You do need to like either smoke the bunkers or clear them with vehicles or something like that. Okay, let's see if he's gonna swing into the left here now. Because the both yellow and teal has gone so heavily into bishops, they don't really have much mass in their army. So, and especially since green is also machine guns, there's no infantry to just kind of respond to this. Their only mobile anti-infantry was the two Stuarts, though one went down. So these Jaegers are just free to roam around. They can go wherever the heck they want. Until one of the Allies players gets a machine gun on it, which one of them is now suppressed. Yeah, so from over there. These Jaegers are actually absorbing so much of the artillery cooldowns from the Allies right now. I think I just saw something like 5 Bishop Barrages try and connect with this squad, which is like what we want to see, or like you want to use artillery against massed infantry like this, but you do need to hold them in position for the artillery to be efficient. And because there were no machine guns in place or any infantry to force them into cover, yeah, they had to spend a lot of the artillery barrages. And you can see that reflected on the map. The Axis have basically controlled the entire, I guess, contested front line of the map. They have slightly over half of the map. And if they're able to repeat this once or two more times, it's going to be really nasty for Allies. Now, one of the scary things for Axis here is that their builds are a little bit more mid-game oriented than the Allies are right now. Once the Allies fill out their armies with more higher tier units, so for example, Teal's for guards right now, it can be much more difficult to deal with this. The guards are going to be really nice. They're going to be able to run at the Jaegers and essentially clear them, or at least force them to be a lot more cautious than what they were before. But yeah, we'll see kind of how this goes.
There was a question in the chat about towing bugs. If we'll be able to sort of make any changes there. Jason, I don't know if you want to tease. Whoa, that was big.
Ooh, see ya.
Big hits. I don't know if you want to tease anything there.
Yeah, so we are working on improvements on towing. Towing is kind of like this weird combination of like unit abilities, logic, and pathing. So there's quite a lot of issues entangled in there. But I do think we're going to make some major improvements to that system in 2.1.
Okay, sounds good.
Especially since it affects, like, for example, our super heavy towable AT guns. It's definitely a priority for us to work on it. In the past, we've kind of struggled to have time because there were a lot of bugs elsewhere or a lot of other tech we have to build. But right now, we're in 2.1, we're spending some time on this. So these Jaegers are worth their weight in gold right now. They just broke how many units, absorbed how much artillery. I think that was a repair station that went down.
Station.
That too.
And I think I just saw at least 2 barrages targeting these Jaegers. But again, they're free to move around, so the barrages, unless you get lucky with the first connection, which that did get a center shot on 3 of them. Okay, well, Orange needs to make sure he keeps moving them, because if he sticks them like this in cover, I mean, barrages can come in. Yeah, so more artillery comes in. Gammon. Okay, so he has to retreat. Yeah. So that's the issue of like blobbing them together. When they all get suppressed like that, yeah, they don't die, but you just lost like 2-3 minutes of uptime on a bunch of units.
It's a long run back on this map.
Yes. But Orange also has triple Westbout, so they're doing a lot of work here. All the Axis players are, really, but it's a bit of a standout. Tier 4 is now coming out for USF, which is important. Wait, the bishops just went down. I did not get to catch what killed them. Or did they refit them? They may have actually refitted the bishops. I'm not sure. I don't think we missed a dive that the Axis did, but they're down to 2 bishops now.
Seems like a good move to refit.
Goodbye. That one was a bit lost there. So goodbye. Yellow's has a bunch of demo engineers here, which is cool to see. They're going to be fairly hard to deal with.
Do you think? I always see comments about the demo engineers. Do you think they're underrated? Because I feel like everyone goes for the Croc instead, right?
I mean, it's a big flamethrower heavy tank, so I don't blame people. I think demo engineers definitely have their own role. It will depend on the game state of like, do you need better flamethrower engineers essentially? Because not always will that be valuable. I mean, same thing with the crocodile. I would also say. But yeah,
I think 5/8 reds is enough.
I mean, clearly, I think Red's. I mean, Red is now going up to 5, so who
Yeah.
knows? Maybe he actually wants the 6th one. Uh, Strangely enough, the amount of AT. Okay, no, the grants are coming out. So yeah, no, they definitely refitted. So yeah, these 8 Reds are a little lost because they don't have too many good targets. The allies aren't really running around with that much infantry to deal with. And the Axis, in some ways, have a superior infantry force than the allies right now. Especially once these grants come online. These 8 rats have a limited lifespan against this many grants. With 8 rats, generally they're really strong in that mid-game phase where their mobility and anti-infantry is really nasty to deal with before too many medium tanks hit the field. But I mean, Red can do what Red wants. So far, even despite the the advantages that both sides have been able to earn, it's still a fairly close game, 279 to 423. In terms of resource control, I think Axis has had an advantage over the course of the game, but I don't think it's been too tremendous of a resource advantage. In terms of bleed, I don't actually know. Should be an overview, but yeah, it's fine. So yeah, in terms of army sizes, both of them look generally okay. Red's army is definitely a little bit sketchy if you're on the Axis team. Like it could be really good, but it could all die in on one screen instantly, especially with 4 grants or 3 grants roving around. But yeah, allies I think have recognized that they don't have enough mass and have gotten away some of their artillery for exchange for grants. I don't know if Axis will recognize this because this means they can put out more team weapons. Currently, I believe all of the team weapons on Axis have died out. I believe
Good
there were
opportunity for a push from the allies then.
yeah. I mean, there's still 2 bishops on the field, which can be difficult to deal with. But now we are going to reach the stage of the game where armored play is going to matter a lot. One of my favorite things about this map is that you can move armor to the north and the south, and it's fairly difficult to easily respond to a big push in either area. So you can catch the enemy off guard by essentially moving your tanks around and overloading one side of the map with a big attack. But to do one of the things you really want in that scenario is control of the middle. The resources in the middle matter less now, but the control of that island matters very much because whoever controls the middle can rotate faster. So it definitely makes sense that. Ooh, goodbye.
Poor engineer.
That both teams are fighting over the middle here.
Yeah. Also, as a bit of a tease, a few seconds or a few moments ago, I saw something that happened on this screen that you won't be able to do in 2-1 anymore. So players can speculate on what that might be.
The martyrs. I wonder how many upgrades Red has, considering how he doesn't have any infantry. I'm assuming he's fairly deep into the upgrades. So even though these are mid-game 8 Reds, they will be fairly hard to kill. But yeah, how many mortars did they have between the 2 of them? 6? 5. 6. So if they use this effectively, they like this, yeah, that Sherman's in the wrong neighborhood. That's gonna go down. Yeah. So if the allies push into these martyr lines, I guess they're not going to be long for this world. Even if there's something like a grant, they're going to go down super fast. But at the same time, these martyrs have all the weaknesses that come with being a martyr. They're kind of slow. They have to face to attack. They're vulnerable to flanking and dive attacks. And especially this late in, allies will have more than enough tanks to threaten. A single good dive will easily kill this entire line.
I guess that's a bit of a trade-off anytime you're over-indexing on one unit, versus a diversity of units. Sure, that might be strong in a specific scenario or, given a certain patch or whatever, but I imagine there's a lot of weaknesses there that can be exploited as well.
Yeah. But it's up to you as a player to basically create the or to shape the battlefield in a way where you always play to your strengths and your opponents to their weaknesses. Because to deal with flanks, there's a lot you can do. You can set up mines. You can set up like tank traps and stuff like that. Especially on a map like this where the wings aren't too much in the main line of battle, you can have a lot of free time to build stuff. Or just, just be ready. Like if you constantly track where your opponent vehicles are, you can't get flanked by vehicles that you can see, right? Or at least you generally shouldn't be able to, but yeah.
Loving the winter cosmetics on the desert map, though.
Oh yeah.
They actually kind of
Good.
fit. I like it.
Yeah.
The Panzer IVs rocking up in their camo. Oh, those are some. Wait, are those 6-pounders? Those must be 6-pounders. Okay, one's a 6-pounder, one's a 2-pounder, I think. Yeah. Okay. Wow. I was gonna say purple was or blue was in a nasty spot there, but not anymore. Those tanks are gone. Which is really good. This is amazing for blue, because this means they're going to have essentially uncontested control. And Pink, in a lot of ways, is out of the fight for a while now. We'll see if Pink recognizes they're going to have to essentially just support the teammates, because they have no AT, and you can't fight a Stuart and 2 Crusaders with no AT.
They're trying to rebuild their P4, but is that going to be enough at this point?
A single P4 is definitely not going to be enough, especially since he only has 2 snares and 2 fall Jaegers, and you kind of don't want to be using fall Jaegers for just snares. They're very expensive infantry, so any models you bleed in that process will cost you in the long run. Oh, flanking Crusaders going straight through the middle. Don't jump on the Martyrs quite quickly enough, and I think they're going to get... Oh, they clean up a 221 with the radio upgrade.
Super.
Are they gonna get this Flactorling as well? Okay, all right. I think the Flactorling could actually fight back with the armor-piercing rounds against the rear of the Crusader. It actually would have a chance of penetrating it, so a bit of a shame. Yeah. Oh, that Stuka's gonna go down, potentially. Oh, no, not quite. Oh, here comes the cavalry, I guess. Comes in red. Yellow's sneaking the heck away. The south is being, like, basically pushed through. Oh, here comes the triple martyrs. They're still intact. I think green probably tried to follow up on that flank. Stayed around way too long, and now is facing the wrath of 3 angry Axis players who are like, how dare you flank us? The Whizbag might be able to get away, depending on Purple's micro with the Martyrs. No, it's dead. And another Sherman joins to try and save the day, but I think that he's also just going to be another victim. Though these 8 rats are now very much in the enemy camp now.
Right.
Yeah.
Sitting literally in the enemy base. With the amount of AT they just killed, might be okay. Good micro on the Crusader using the Hero Charge. Can circle straight for Martyr. Martyrs dies. 8 rats find a Bishop. Yeah, they're going to go for it. All right. So here comes the mechanized battle that we were talking about earlier, where these vehicle movements matter quite a lot.
Yeah.
2 Crusaders normally can't do anything to 6 Martyrs, but as you can see, they just went straight through them, killed, displaced the whole line, killed, I think, 2 vehicles. And Red now on an adventure.
I feel like this is pretty costly for Red. They've essentially lost their entire...
I don't know why he kind of decided to, like, now I want to explore the north. Maybe the adrenaline was kicking in after just, like, really rocking green. And he's like, surely I can just do this to everyone. And then he forgets that, no. The other Brit players very much are intact. So that's a very painful loss. Red has essentially been reset to the Stone Age. He is building 2 Panzer IIIs now, so he's not off the field entirely. Pink has been reset to the Stone Age. He has 2 packs and nothing else, which can happen in these scenarios where, like, these big engagements happen. And if you're not careful, all of your units can easily get cleaned up. Oh, Cloaked Jaegers, 4 Panzer Sprechs. Okay. That's probably going to be a kill. Oh, and even a Faust. Yeah, that's dead. Allies probably need to drop everything they have on this. But again, they don't have things to hold these Jaegers in place. Oh, as I say that. Well, there you go. That needed...
A little too late.
Yeah, a little too late. Do need to be... Especially if you have 4 Cloaked Jaegers, 3 of them, which are Vet 3 as well. You definitely need to be covering your units with detection at that point, which can be difficult for Brits to get in the late game, admittedly. They really need to rely on the flares, which they don't have too many. But Axis expended a lot in the last few fights. Purple still has all of their martyrs intact, and I think they are essentially, they need to hold the line here, because if those martyrs get flanked or get pushed off, which seems to be what allies are trying to do right now, the entire Axis line will break. But so far, looks like they're doing a good job. Oh, the Black Prince is out.
Oh yeah.
This will be very difficult to deal with what they have. I don't think Purple. Oh, goodbye. A bunch of units. Holy crap! Huge engagement here. I don't think Purple has tungsten rounds, so his martyrs are going to struggle to penetrate especially the front of the BP. And I think enough units have been traded out where I think allies have realized that Axis doesn't have that much combat infantry on the field at all. The majority of it was the blob. Yeah, the blob and purples. Now, Orange is keeping this in a tactical combat formation here. But leaving it like this, A, your opponent knows exactly where all of your infantry units are. B, anything that connects with this will be nasty. But it is 3 Vet 3 Jaegers and a Vet 2 Jaeger. It's a very powerful block here.
And they're retreating already.
Yeah, so this is one of the issues with martyrs. If your entire line is being well, okay, there we go. Like we mentioned earlier, that's kind of one of the issues with it. I believe it's Green dropping these P-47 strafes on them, so he's getting a lot of value out of the AC, which is really nice to see.
Yeah, that's Water from the Discord. So shout out to the top yapper on the official Discord.
Especially one of the dives cleared a Vet 3 flak reeling, I believe. So Axis is down to no AA, I want to say. Oh, he rebuilt it, so he has a new flak reeling. In that list of vehicles, it's the far left one. But yeah, because the martyrs are so easy to displace, while they're being moved around, they can't be too effective, which gives allies essentially full freedom of movement. So even though Axis has the AT on the field to deal with a lot of this stuff, they can't really use it, and allies have been doing a really good job of essentially mitigating them via using the bazooka teams running around. Though this Black Prince is, holy crap, is in the end zone. Oh, they're going for the cash. It's cool that they know that they need to kill this, which is good, but BP this far down can't come back home very easily, if like at all. Allies must be extremely confident they can protect this position. And in comes the Axis. There's a lot of allied AT here, but Red is using the building as a shot blocker and is getting a lot of value out of that. Trying to go around now, run straight into the bazooka teams. Was kind of forced out by good ASC play, which is good. Hellcat is going to go down. But these P3s are all... Oh, that dive bomb! Just killed 3 bazooka teams.
Huge.
That was huge,
yeah. The BP lives to see another day, and all 3 P4s, saw their lives flashing before them. But that Stuka support was clutch, and that just saved all 3 P3s, and wiped out most of Green's army. So
Then the martyrs after the BP right now, since you know it's slow.
So I think what they're struggling with is they don't have any vision. Martyrs are not good at running at units. You don't want to be running martyrs into the fog of war anyway, because you'll run into bazookas or whatever the heck, or mines. But even then, if you just run into tanks slightly off center, you're going to lose the martyrs as well. So even though the martyrs could, in a straight up engagement, kill basically all of the armor that allies has, he can't really use it because he doesn't have infantry screening in front of it. He doesn't have recon going. Because yeah, like 6 martyrs could easily fight 2 grants frontally.
That's the difference between a dad gamer and Jason.
Yeah, like I do think Axis really needs. I mean, this is one of the issues struggling with using martyrs without good infantry support. You need infantry in front of your units to ward off bazooka teams, to get vision on enemy vehicles, clear mines with their faces. Honestly, some of the time, So like pink here working the north probably should be helping their allies in the middle there, because he's hurting for AT and he's trying to solve the problem with two pack guns. But the problem is the north is so open ended. At any point, if the allies decide to be like, pink is annoying, and they focus them down, if they move half of their vehicles over, they're going to be easily able to overwhelm these two pack guns.
Is this like a scenario where they might be tunnel vision, like getting tunnel vision
Yeah.
on like the victory point?
No, you definitely can, and like, especially since the North probably isn't even being held by all that many units. Like in this case, there's nothing there. It can be really easy to be tempted to like attack that area, but often you don't want to be committing an army to there. If you really wanted to take advantage of this, the best you could do is like build a pioneer to cap that. Oh, giant Stuka barrage. I believe that's a Stuka barrage going down on the BP, killing most of its support and damaging it heavily. But allies just have too many units here. Axis has been in kind of like threaded down. Oh, all the martyrs went down. I didn't even get to see. Uh, oh, red trying to do recovery, which is smart, but alas is unable to hold. And this is a pretty nasty victory. I don't know where the Jaegers have been, because, oh no. Both Stukas dropping smoke, going through the allied armor. I mean,
Reverse.
you are juking it, but you have to go home somehow, and
Yeah.
yeah, that's not happening. Well, I mean, they were probably dead either way. Oh,
Attack ground.
He's
Attack ground.
so-
object permanence. I think the allies forgot there were two Stukas there, but so be it. Oh, red smoke. What the heck did they call him there? Oh, dive bomb. But it got shot down. So yeah,
Girl.
definitely big break there. Oh, purple has enough resources to immediately build out 3 martyrs, but I don't think they're gonna survive here.
Yeah, I think
GG.
that's a surrender there.
GG.
Wow, cool, awesome game.
That was great. That was a lot of fun.
I've seen all the vehicles on the field in a 4v4.
Yeah.
Get some good tank combat back and forth.
That's my favorite part of this map, is that it does generally allow these really large vehicle engagements, because it's kind of difficult to use it. Like the infantry kind of get funneled into areas. If you can break through these areas, you essentially have like a rear you can kind of move around through, which is a lot of fun. I quite like it. Yeah, really good game.
Yeah, KJ, final thoughts on that last match that we watched there?
I've seen 3 split players. That's my main. So always fun seeing that and seeing them kind of pull off the win and kind of come back. Love seeing the pivot away from the bishops. It seemed like both players did that simultaneously. So I'm
Yeah.
not sure if there's some chat, some coordination there. Often a lot of players will just see their teammates with bishops and not give them a hope to kind of pivot. So it's good seeing the team stick in there, not do a surrender, and actually pull the win out. Kind of gives me a lot of hope for the future on using refit myself.
Yeah, for sure. So again, a reminder for both UnionMan and Tevery Best, hit us up on the Discord, and we'll get you situated with an ultimate pack from the store of your choice, so you can outfit your units with some fun cosmetics. There are a couple questions from the chat here. If you both have time to answer a couple
Sure.
before we wrap up.
Love to.
So I think first one, let's see, a couple for Jason here. Can we expect any further buffs to pack howitzers?
Pack Howies. Can I do spoilers? No, I mean like, yeah,
Sure.
I
Go for
think
it.
we're gonna do some buffs to the unit. We are currently looking at that whole unit class as a whole. Every time we've moved around the balance of like machine guns, we had to change mortars, and then after mortars get changed, like howitzers have to be changed. Like the LEIG has cycled from game breakingly OP to completely useless to kind of okay now, for example, and the pack howitzer is one of those units, so we can really look at it.
Okay. Any changes to camo or detection in 2.1?
Yes.
Yes, that's a good answer. It's a good answer. Tune in next week. Tune in next week for our deep dive on Tuesday. This is, I think, this is kind of a question for me or KJ. Any consideration to doing drops alongside our live streams? I think we've thought about that in the past. There's a bit of technical overhead there. KJ, maybe you can speak to that a bit more.
Yeah, definitely have to build out the tech if we want to do drops in real time and have it hook up to our back end and then addition build out the tech to connect your account with Amazon basically and have that interconnection
Yeah.
before we could do something like that. But
Yeah, I mean, we're a small team, so it's all about sort of prioritizing certain work and putting people where we feel their talents should best be directed. So it's definitely one of those nice things that we would love to do, but there's always other considerations for the projects and things that are happening at the studio. Um, any other questions that I'm missing? I don't think so. Cool. Well, again, thanks, KJ and Jason for taking some time to watch some replays with us today. Um,
It's
Again,
fun.
thank you to those that have submitted all your replays. Don't worry if we didn't select yours. We can always look at replays in the future. So, reminder: our Opal Scorpion update is going to be coming out on June 24th. So next week on Tuesday, we will be having a deep dive, and that will cover everything. We're just going to have one stream that goes into all of the new maps, multiplayer balance changes, new cosmetics, and all that kind of fun stuff. So be sure to tune in for that. And yeah, patch notes and stuff, obviously, day of the release. And I think that's kind of it. As always, follow us on your social channel of choice at Company of Heroes. You can join the Discord server at discord.gg/relic entertainment. And I think we'll just kind of end things there. Thanks so much, both. And we will see everyone next Tuesday.
thanks, folks.
Have a good one.